Another day for my ramblings, talking about life, what it has to offer, and the in betweens. So today we are talking about love. Um, the feeling that you feel giddy inside, or we say we get butterflies when you see somebody we like. Our heart just quickens and all that. But come to think of it, most of us have gone through the same process, like having the puppy love, then having crushes. Puppy love didn't have a crush as such, but some people experienced it during their kindergarten days and young schooling days. And for me, do I remember my puppy? Yeah, I do. Uh, was it a puppy love or a crush? Anyway, I actually, when there's a time I was just going through my old old young photos, and I spotted some people I can remember, and then I was like, my sister was like, "Can you name the schoolmates you had in kindergarten?" And funny enough, I do remember most of the names, not all, but like first names. Yeah, they were already. My memory is still that sharp, and she was shocked about that. But anyway, other than that, then we had primary school when somebody had a crush on you and they'll tease you, or to some extent it will be looked at as bullying, while they were just getting trying to get your attention and to see your reaction or if you're interested. But how do you bully somebody to be interested in you? It's something that perplexes me about young age, and most of us have experienced that. For me, I remember in primary school we had weird things like note writing, pass down notes, small notes, and then or even silly games. And there's this traditional game. I don't know if kids nowadays play it, or it's a tradition that continues on. But we used to play like family setup. We had a dad, a mom, and then the ones who acted as kids, and then the aunts. I was always an aunt, which explains a lot right now. Anyway, other than that, we used to play, we call it in Kiswahili, it's chababa na chamama. I don't know how it's called in English or different dialects in the world, but we'll have that family setup. And it's like a role play or advance to know, like in children's mental, how they play it is how they interact at home, or they borrow from their home environment. And we'll have a makeshift kitchen and makeshift food. We used to make cake made of mud. Some even ate it. And we'll get greens from the fence or the weeds around and make vegetables. It was a healthy diet anyway. Um, but other than that, that's early on in the schooling system, like class one to maybe it ended around class three, because most of us were hormones. Like I said last time, the region of the womb, ladies, we mature faster. Some of us experienced our menstrual cycles pretty early, but or you start now seeing the difference about being clean and being girl like, or sitting not with your legs apart. Like you have, because our school, like I studied in currency, and our school uniform for the ladies was a loose turquoise blue dress, and a navy blue sweater, and navy blue socks with black leather shoes. And you could add stockings because it was a cold place. Other than that, so you understand how to to click, have cliques of friends, of girlfriends, and then the boys became rough gaming by making. I remember they used to make these pranks in our playfields in school. We had a small field. Small field was for the youngs, and classes from class 2 and 1, and then later on the kindergarten. That was that serviced their playing small field. And then we had big field that had the upper classes from class 3, which it felt intimidating. You find class 3 still going to the small field. I remember when because the weather around our school was cold and it rained a lot, so our fields, the grass used to grow to a certain height. It's surprising that we didn't have snakes in school. But that aside, um, they would tie, they'll tie, they'll make a trap in the grasses, and so that when you're walking around and your leg caught in the trap, you'll fall down. So, and then they will be out laughing, chuckling, and all that. So, and this is the thing, it was not just the young kids, it was also the older kids in the high classes, from class 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then that those fields also were used during lunchtime, for lunch breaks, and also for tea. We didn't call it tea break. It was a public school, so most of the food, I remember when I entered the school, class 1, 2, up to class 3, we had cooks in school, and the parents will pay through PTA for the meals, for the break meal. We didn't call it tea break or whatever, but we had, here's a timetable. It was perhaps when we got to school early, maybe 6, but normal classes started at 8:30 after parade or whatever activities were sent, and then 8:30 to 10:30, that's one less. 8:30 to 9:30 was one lesson. 9:30 to 10:30. Am I saying it? No, the lessons were 30 minutes or 1 hour. I remember I used to make the timetable. I'm getting old. But anyway, because the fact we had short break, which was like a bathroom break, after 2 lessons in the morning, we had a short break for bathroom break or stretching your legs. Then 2 lessons again, we had a long break. That's when you eat maybe snacks packed by your parents, or go to the canteen and buy snacks from the canteen. They used to have nice samosas and sodas and ice pops. Like, the variety was extended. Then after the long break, which was around 11:30 to 12, then we have like 2 lessons, 12:30, 12 to 12:30, 12:30 to 1. Then we have lunch break. Lunch break was 1 hour. So you'll eat, then after eating, play around to make the food digest well. Then, hey, the lessons after lunchtime were a struggle, because, mind you, if you carried food from home, especially ugali, the staple food in Kenya, ugali is the worst food to eat during lunchtime, because after lunch your brain is dead, you just want to sleep. So yeah, most of the time you'll see the people who have eaten ugali, when you get back to class, they're just falling off their chairs or just kissing the table, falling asleep and all that. So we were talking about love, and I diverted a little bit. So puppy love was the kids. Some kids also, you'll have a peck here and there if you're lucky. My sister shocked me when she was young. She told me she was kissed and I hadn't gotten my kiss yet, my first kiss. And it was like, oh, okay, this generation is just woof, running, making us run for our, not money, for our lives. But yeah, some kids experience that, and some kids also experience like the teasing, the pulling of the hair. The others will be sharing their lunches or play their little games and all that. It's so cute at that age with age mates. Point to note. Then we get the another puppy love of just, you don't know your hormones, they're just up and about. You see one guy, you are maybe your desk mate in class, and you're looking at them and, oh yeah, he's handsome, he is handsome. But our mind doesn't go that far, like, oh yeah, I can. But we do daydream that, oh yeah, I'm going to be Mrs. So and so. That's the fire of love phase that we just experience, like, yeah, I can be his Mrs. Some of them make it, some don't, and it's rare that we do make it. My puppy love, oof, i i was I was told, still told even now, even in college days, that I'm aggressive and I'm intimidating to men. So yeah, I'll confess. Here's my thing. I used to confess to them. I didn't. If I see they're afraid, I'll do it. I'll take one for the team and say, yeah, yeah, I like you. And then what you do with that information is up to you. But other than that, yeah, it was just weird. Like, gotten letters, love letters. Some people got them, and others got openly confession, and we started shipping people, like, yeah, they look good together. And even some of them used to visit each other during the weekend, even though they were not, the proximity of where they were living was a distance. Mind you, our school was a public school located at Karen, and kids came from Matasia, Rongai, Langata, and Karen and Ngong. So you can see it's extensive. So you'll find somebody from Ngong loving somebody from Rongai. It's a distance. It's like 11 about 12 kilometers if you use the Kiserian route. Oh, and other kids came from Kiserian. Hey, I had forgotten that. Then you'll find that's like early before preteen. Then preteen, you'll start finding some people clicking, spending more time with each other, lovey-doveys in class. Then there was the, here in Kenya, we didn't have the cooties issue, like don't touch me. It was a problem of don't touch me, don't touch my book, don't let your book touch me. I remember in class 5, the way we were arranged in class, it was on one column of the class had two desk mates, like all through. Then the middle of the class were 3 desk mates, and then at the end were 2 desk mates. We were about 55 students in class. I was a prefect back then. Our class teacher was a first aider of the school, like the one who was in charge of giving people injury when they're having sports and all that, and also our sports teacher. I was sitting with my desk mate. This was the funniest thing. And I was in the middle, like if you look all through the way this class setting was, our desk were the three desks were in the middle, like right in the middle of the whole class, from different angles we were in the middle. So I was sitting on the left side, then in the middle was a guy who was called Steven, and at the end was a lady who was called Akinyi. This guy and the lady didn't like each other. So we had a culture of, when you do your homework and you get back to class, the respective lesson and teachers will tell us to exchange books. So I'll mark for, oh, she was called Cynthia. I'll mark for Cynthia. Cynthia will mark Stephen's book, and Stephen will mark my book, like interchange the books, so that the teacher can also know if people are loyal to your classmates, are loyal to you, or the system of education. So you'll have your, if you have not done the homework, first it was to check if your homework was done. Secondly, it was to check if your homework was signed by your parent. And thirdly was to check if the answers were correct after the marking. So if your desk mates noticed that you didn't get parental signature at the end of your homework, they had to report you. Same as if you hadn't completed the homework, they had to report you. If you didn't give out your book to be marked, also they had to report you, because we'll mark the books ourselves, then we turn the books back to the teacher, they counter check if it was marked correctly, and then the book is handed at the end of the lesson back to the owners. Now, Steve and Cynthia didn't get along. Mind you, I'm on the far end, Steve is in the middle, and Cynthia is at the end. So they were more sitting close to each other, and they didn't even speak to each other. When it came to marking books, they all fought that their books to be marked by me, and they should not touch. The craziest thing ever. And they both wanted to sign, to mark my book. I was a good student. I always did my homework. I actually did my homework at school before I went home. So when I got home, my mom had the books ready, signed, and I was playing outside. I was a good girl. And now I have this drama of these two who don't like each other, and I have to mark their books. And they should know. My desk is not big, and I have both the exercises book, which are A4 sizes, and it's double paged. And my desk is not like the teacher's table that is extensive. Yeah, I used to tell them, this is showing that we used to have a saying, wapigana wakosanao, like the ones who fight mostly love each other most. So we'll start teasing them with that, and they'll stop their nonsense, and I'll be like, I'm one person, you two, can you make sense and stop your childish? Even though we were only 11 years old, most of us. And others, I remember that most people used to lie about their ages. I don't know why. They wanted to seem they're older, and then it will be coming the question of, if you are older, why aren't you not in the ahead classes? Why are you in the class that we are still in? I used to lie that I was 1 year older. And it's not because I was lying because I wanted to be older. It's because I started school early at 2 years. So I was in the class with the 1 year ahead of me. So yeah, I used to lie, but then I had to repeat when I transferred school from Greenyard in Ngong to Karen C in Karen. So he's people who are fighting, and later on I found out that Cynthia had a crush on Steve. And I told him. No, she was shy, but I was like, are you okay if I tell him that you have a crush? And she was like, yeah, I'm okay about that. And when I told him, he looked at me and hell no. No, 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 no. Not. And then I'm like, then why are you acting? I don't even like her. Like, but you're acting like, there's a fine line between not liking somebody and liking them too much. And he was like, okay, I'll stop. And that's the year, I think after that fight, that's when we lost one of our classmates due to a road accident. And it was a somber moment. Then I remember in class 6 there was drama. Oh, now so I was 12 years, and that's when now the preteen issues started, when jealousy, envy, and the fighting over a man that all of you haven't become their girlfriend and they don't even know you're interested, and everyone is like fighting over that man. Yeah, weirdness in preteen. In preteen. That's back in the that's back in what? Early 2000s. um Rumors started going around that I was confessing that I'm loving somebody, and the rumor started with a close friend of mine that I later confirmed. But I was not worried about uh, the rumor. I was worried about, this is a friend that started the rumor. I just because we were playing a game and I just said, they asked me, who would you rather be married to in the pretend game, and I said the person, and we got along. So I didn't think much of it. Then the friend went and spread the rumors to somebody. Oh yeah, she's just obsessed over this guy. And I was like, when they talked about it, when the rumor was brought back to me, I remember I was in the small field. We were chatting because that's when my brother was also enrolled in class 1, and it happened this guy's siblings also entered class 1. Other Actually, our class had siblings, most of us in class 1. So we were just going there saying bye and all, and then the room was brought to me, and I was like, oh, what did you say? Yeah, I was told that you're obsessed about this guy. That's why you follow him everywhere. And I'm like, I follow him everywhere. He has siblings in the small field. I have a sibling at the small field. I'm actually the one who carries my brother's break snacks, because I got out the first trip before he was picked up with the same school bus. So when I woke up early, my mom will pack the break and I'll carry it, so that because I used to carry a thermos, a flask, and it was fragile, and I was the responsible one, obviously firstborns, and the snacks. So I'll carry it. So my mom will insist I carry it, so that break time I know where to find my brother, or my brother will find me in class and I'll give his break, and then yeah, and then after he completes, I wash them, pack them well, and keep them safe, and they will not get lost. So I'm going to see the small field, my brother. He's going to see, he had twin siblings, his brother and sister, and also a classmate of ours was also going to see her brother. So tell me why I'm being told I'm following this guy, and yet he's going on his own accord. I'm going on my own accord. Everyone is going on their own accord. But we'll find each other in the same place and we'll talk. And the siblings used to like hanging around me. And also, I was also a prefect. Responsibility all over. But now the rumor has been brought to me, and it was brought in a bad taste in mouth. That I am obsessed with this guy. I keep on following him all around, and he that part was the one that like gave me an ick, because the person, then I was like, okay, following him. Why am I following him around, and I have my own uh, responsibilities that I'm doing? But that aside, who told you that? It became a chain reaction. You follow, she said this. Now I was like, no, I want to know the source, where the story came from. So the source turned out to be a friend of mine, and I was then the one who added salt or sugar to spice the rumor up. I didn't like that girl. So I nearly fought. Yeah. Ooh, my temper was heightened back then. So when I was told, I confronted my friend, and she said, I just uh, repeated what you said at the game to this person. I was like, okay, you repeated. Okay, let me confirm that. I went and confronted the person who now I didn't like. And she was like, no, she told me. Now it was like, she said, she said. So when I was in class, we had a free period, and our class was weirdly located. We could not be misbehaving because our windows were directly facing the staff room and the headmaster's and deputy's office and the main hall. So no matter how you try to hide, the windows were just like parading you to all for all to see. So I was just where I used to sit at the back seat on the left side, back row at the window. And this girl used to sit at the front row on my side, left side. So what I don't know who provoked me. There's something else was added. Oh, and she keeps on saying this is you're doing voodoo or something. And I was like, that's it. I pushed my desk. It squeezed everyone in my column, even her. And she was actually after the teacher's cupboard or wardrobe, the drawers where she keeps the books and the chalks and all that. She was pressed between her desk. These people are complaining, but her was worse because she was like, she hit an obstacle. She could not move. And everyone was like, what? Wait. Like, the whole class was like, what just happened? And the guy they were talking about that I was obsessed with used to, he was my front row, my front seat desk mate. So anytime he'll turn around about, I was a math geek, ask me about maths and all that, and we'll talk. And I think even people used to feel there was an issue, and I'll not deny it. I had a crush on him, but anyway, that's aside. But like, I didn't confess to anyone that I had a crush on him. So for them to create a rumor before I said it with my mouth, that was my issue. So after that, class 6, then I started noticing there was a class 7 student who was noticing me and following me around school. It was creepy. During break times and lunch times, when I used to take a stroll after having my lunch in break. Then class 7, it became worse. Mind you, this guy who had a girlfriend in class 8. When I was in class 7, they were both in class 8. So we'll have I had a friend group. We call us tall baggers. We were the tallest in our class. So we'll, after having our break snacks, my brother has gotten his snack. He has gone back to his class. I have completed mine, washed a bit, kept it safe in my bag. We'll take a stroll around the school, not play games, but walk around. And then we'll walk, and I look back. This guy has his friend following us. And here's the weirdest thing: they will not talk to me directly, they'll send other people. And yet we'll see each other in different places, but they cannot come and say, hi, I just wanted to talk to you. It's weird. Young love. But for me, it was not there. Other than that, it was just crazy, 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 crazy. Then later on, the girlfriend came to confront me. That day, I didn't feel like walking, so I stayed back in class doing homework. She came to class and started shouting like, "Oh, you're a boyfriend stealer, leave my boyfriend around alone." And I'm looking at her like, okay. She finished and I was like, are you done? And she was like, yeah, and yes, now I'm done. And I said, first of all, he's not your husband. You're still not in the marriage category. So that aside, second of all, who told you I'm interested in him? Oh, but he's been following you around. Yeah, point of that. He's been following me, not the other way around. I've not even spoken to him. Why don't you go and tell him to stop following me around? Third of all, I'm here to study, and as you can see, I'm doing my homework. She looked at me, she tried, and then she was tall. I was tall. She was curvy. I was curvy. So, yeah, we could have gone. And she had seen that my temper is crazy, and her brother was actually my classmate. So, her brother also told her, like, don't try her. When she goes off, she goes off. So there's no in between. So I told her, okay, now as you can see, I was busy doing something. Why won't you take your little legs, get out of class because you don't belong here, and go back to either your class or to your boyfriend or your husband, as you so called him? Yeah, that's how. Sometimes I used to choose my battles. Other times I'll just be calm, and that was the worst side of me. When I'm calm and I'm not throwing hands, yeah, I'll throw jabs that will make you rethink the actions you were just doing. So yeah, after that that's class 7. They immediately she confronted me. He broke up with her, and yet it said I'm the problem. Yeah. Anyway, and I was not dating him, so men men also drive us crazy since we were young. Just crazy on that level. Then we went class 8. That's when I confessed during our school trip. That's when I confessed to my classmate crush, and then he was like, he's not interested, and I was like, okay. And life moves on. So high school, that's now here in Kenya we have boarding schools, and it's not mixed boarding schools mostly. It's just like a girls boarding school, boys boarding school, and then you'll only meet during school functions that interact with different schools. And I met a lot of people through that. I I'll not say I dated, because my first boyfriend in high school, I met him at a school function in Form 2. The school function was a seminar for prefects that was held in Kapsabet, but he, he came from our brother's school, which was Ololaisa, and I studied from Enomatasiani. And we dated until he finished Form 4, and then he, because of adulthood and work commitments, we could not communicate. But that's why I can say I didn't date him. We were just known as boyfriend and girlfriend. But outside school, never we never met. We only met after he finished Form 4 and I had finished Form 4. And he was intimidated that I grew taller than he had left me. He didn't grow taller. So, and I didn't have a problem with that. He had the one of the cutest smiles because he had dimples. Actually, that's what attracted me to him. Other than that, then college days. Before college, I had a guy I dated for 2 months. So, when 2 months, then I entered college, he dumped me on the phone. And that's when you start realizing the sayings our teachers used to tell us that when we were in high school, oh, don't, you're, we had a deputy who told us we are behaving like monkeys on heat when we see trousers. Yeah. Kenyans can be very brutal. You guys are seeing online brutality, but we have been, actually, we have grown with it through our school days to adult ways. So you can't tell a Kenyan anything. They always have a comeback. So she used to tell us, whenever we had functions, we were hosting the functions for high schools, different high schools in our school, and don't behave like monkeys on heat, because you only see trousers, you think you can just jump from one. The speech was, looking back right now as an adult, we are like, wow, yeah, that's a job. So I'll not say love, I'll say love love has many faces, and it's different for everyone. You have the puppy love, others grow with the love that they fell with in a younger age, or even before preteen, and they become couples at the end. Others just meet people outside world when you're working or older and all that, and you still find somebody who ignites that spark in you and you fall in love. Others fall in love now and then, different people. And I'll say it's something to celebrate. Even if you fall out of love with somebody, don't be discouraged to fall in love again and again and again until you find, not until, you never run out of love. That's that's the message for today. You'll never run out of love, because if you not unless you choose to stop loving, because it's a choice, and love needs to be celebrated. We hear from weddings, they like the verse about love has no condition, and yet some people put conditions on that love. Love is not selfish, and all that. Life is kind and all that. So falling in love, it also means that you're sparking and igniting those feelings and embracing them and accepting them. Ah, I end on that note. Today we didn't have anyone who commented, or maybe they commented I didn't see, but I'll talk about it next time. Bye.